Welcome to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show. I'm Kevin Lawrence in studio with my dad, Dr. Gary Lawrence. We are a father and son team dedicated to helping you create your new financial future today. Dr. G and I believe there is a solution to your financial situation. And on this show, we talk about creating wealth with biblical principles and practical application in today's world. You can visit us on our website, wealthempowers.com. Of course, this radio show is also on iTunes. You can follow us on Facebook, our YouTube channel. Hey, just type in Wealth Empowers and you'll find us online. As you listen today, we hope you'll be entertained, educated, and encouraged. We're so glad that you're riding along with us today. So if you knew you could succeed at whatever you wanted to do, what would you do? And when would you start doing it? I would guess that you would most likely quit your current job. You may even move. But regardless of what you do, I'm certain it would involve changing major things in your life and changing them right now. See, this is the one thing that keeps us trapped, the fear of the unknown. You want a different career. You want a better income. You want to live in a different house. You want to have a more fulfillment in your life. But if you don't use your God-given gift of choice to change your direction, well, you'll never arrive at a different location. I know it sounds simple enough, but it's true. Now, Dad, you and Mom had no choice in a large way. You had to make those major changes when you started on your real estate journey many years ago. It's kind of like you didn't have the leisure to kind of think, do I want to make major choices or major changes? They were kind of thrust upon you.
Oh, really? Well, and you know, some of the most critical choices a person will ever make in their life, some of the most life-changing changes they're going to make in their life will come from two different sources. Number one, desperation. Number two, inspiration. And my choice to get involved in the wonderful, wacky, crazy world of real estate investing was first out of desperation, but quickly turned into inspiration. You know, your mother and I, we were missionaries to Canada for 12 years and moved back to the States in 1980 and started New Life Dynamics Christian Counseling Ministry. And we operated that in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we had an office here in the Valley for 25 years, almost 25 years. And we had planned our retirement for 25 years through mutual funds and stocks. And we did what we were taught to do. Well, at the age of 59, back in 2003, we decided it was time for us to retire. Now, once again, I want to bring out the fact we had planned our retirement. But it took me 6 weeks after I retired to come up with the truth that we'd already lost 65% of our retirement portfolio in the stock crash. So, you know, for 40 years, we'd been missionaries, Christian counselors, and that was our life, helping other people solve family and marital issues and bringing people to the Lord Jesus Christ. But anyway, it was a frightening time. It was a shocking time. So from 2003 to 2009, your mother and I lived on what we had left, but in 2009, what we had left was no longer left. And so we went through bankruptcy and foreclosure. Well, what am I going to do? I remember a fellow called me and said, Dr. G, how are you enjoying your retirement years? And I said, to be honest with you, John, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up.
Well, a lot of people feel that way in their retirement years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I was 64 years old then,
right, and
flat broke. And that's when I was introduced to Renatus. And what is Renatus? Well, it's the premier real estate investing education service in America. And I decided at the young age of 64, I'm going to re-educate myself, and I'm going to learn how to become a successful real estate investor. And the rest is history. And by the way, this is our 10th year on the radio.
Wow, can you believe
reaching out with Renatus, and to help you and I bring to our listening audience the reality of how powerful Renatus and the education system is that we have. We have live in the studio two exciting people. I just love these folks. We have Zach Jones, 21-year-old entrepreneur, 21 years old, and his mother, Keo, And, well, I'm just going to say she's quite a bit younger than I am. And Keo and Zach, what a joy to have you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much for having us, Dr. G and Kevin. We're really excited to be here.
A pleasure to be here. Really excited for the opportunity.
And you guys drove all the way in from Apache Junction.
Yes, sir.
That's like a different world to us because, that's way out there in the Superstition Mountains, isn't it?
It is. We have those mountain views in our kitchen every day.
Wow.
Wow. Now, Keo, you are the mother to 5 young people. And I say young, your oldest son is 30, Greg, and your youngest is 16, he's Trevor. Zach, you're turning 21 in about a month. And for almost the last 20 years, you've been a stay-at-home mom, but you were more than just a stay-at-home mom. You also had another aspect of service that you were providing. What was that?
Well, first of all, we have a church, and we started that church. My husband is the elder. My father-in-law is the pastor. And through that church, we've had an outreach mission. One of the things that was laid on my heart a few years ago was that we had a lot of needy people in Apache Junction. And so I wanted to show the love of Christ to everybody that we could, just to share that. And doing that, we wanted to help them financially as well. So we opened up a thrift store, and we helped 48 people who were homeless get off the streets.
Wait a minute. You helped 48 people that were homeless to no longer be homeless.
That's correct, yes.
That's awesome.
18 were veterans and 14 were children.
Wow.
So that's what I did for the last 2 years.
So God's been using you to literally save lives while they're still alive.
Right.
Yeah. Zach, were you part of that?
I was not. I was in school during the time. Didn't get to spend too much time doing it. I was working on myself.
You were in school. You were learning how to get a good education so you could go get a good job and work 40 years for someone else the rest of your life, weren't you?
That's right. The 40-40-40 rule.
Yeah.
I was raised on it. So
Yeah.
You know what, Zach? So was I, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting. We talk about on the radio now, building principle, foundation of wealth, biblical principles and all that. And not a knock to my dad or anything, but I grew up in an environment where we weren't taught about principles of wealth. He got up every day and went to work,
Right.
Got up every day and went to the church when he was pastoring, went to the counseling ministry when we had that. So that's just what you do. You get up, you go to work, you save, and cross your fingers when you're 65. Hopefully you have enough, and that just was the plan.
So, Keo, I want to approach this very gently because Zach said something to me live before we went on the air. What brought you to Renatus? Where were you? What was going on in your life?
In January of last year, my husband, he got sick, and in February, he was diagnosed with metastatic colon cancer that had metastasized to his liver, lungs, and bones.
Wow.
And so we were staring life in the face. We had a plan for retirement. We had a plan for a lot of things, but everything changed the moment that diagnosis occurred. And so last year, we nursed him through his illness. We fought valiantly to try to save him, but God chose to call him home in August. And at that point in time, fortunately, we had the ability, because he was financially responsible, he made sure that we were taken care of with life insurance. But in talking to accountants and knowing the amount of life insurance that we had, we knew that if I did nothing, just stay-at-home mom, then in 10 years, the money that we had would run out.
It would disappear.
It would. It would be gone. So the choice then was to put it to work. And I had decided I wanted to do real estate. I had read Rich Dad and some other books like that. And it was my plan at that time to buy some fourplexes and just do passive income. Well, my friend Patrick Bailey, he said, Keo, you need to come and meet these people. They have incredible community. They have education like you can't believe. You've got to come meet them. It took us about 6 weeks, and we were able to come to the regional meeting in Phoenix.
Oh, sure. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the presentation that night was Michael Huggins, right?
Right, Michael Huggins from Denver.
From Denver. He was doing the velocity banking. And just watching that, the numbers went through my head, and I thought, this is amazing. Like, this is life-changing for people. Even if they don't choose to do real estate, that's life-changing for them. And it made so much sense. So when I saw that, Zach and I decided that, you know what, we need to see, that's the tip of the iceberg. We need to see the rest of it.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Keo Jones and her son Zach are live in the studio with us, coming to us all the way from Apache Junction, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I, we're hosting another Investor Business Forum this week right here in the Valley. And I want to extend to you an invitation to be my personal guest. If you come to our business forum, it's not a boring business meeting. This is not multi-level marketing. This is an exciting business event. You're going to learn about real estate investing as it truly is in Arizona today and throughout the country. You're going to learn about the Renatus educational system and why it is so unique and so impactful in people's lives and so practical. You're going to learn how other men and women just like you have repositioned themselves to create a financial platform they control. Now, if you'd like to be my guest, you're going to have to call me to make it happen. And I'm going to give you my phone number in a minute, but I want you to know when you call, you will get our voice message. So for your sake, leave a message for me with your name and your phone number so I can call you back. And I will return the call personally. Are you ready to write down our phone number? Here it is. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or, hey, visit Kevin and I at our website, wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Keo and Zach. Now, Zach, your mother just shared the I'm going to say the sad news of passing of your father.
That's right.
And before we went on the air, you said, Dr. G, the truth of the fact is, if it wasn't for us losing our father, we wouldn't be winning with Renatus. You said something like that.
That's right. Without the death of our father, without the death of my father and her husband, we would not have ever even thought about getting into real estate investing. He was a straight go to work 40 hours a week.
He was taught the old school, wasn't he?
Exactly.
And that's not a bad thing. I mean, your dad loved you folks. He provided for you. He was consistent. God used him to help start that church out there in Apache Junction. And I just think that's awesome. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. So he taught us go to work, go to college, get a degree, get a job, and live off of the retirement and the benefits of that job. And that's what I planned to do. I was in college when he got sick, and when we found out what it really was, I dropped out and spent more time with him because time is the most valuable thing you get.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that you've made this change, are you excited about Renatus in your future?
Absolutely. It's all looking up from here. We see so many different people. I see people my age that have changed their lives dramatically. Michael Huggins comes to mind. And
well, you know, he was 22 years old when he got started.
Right.
He's 30 years old now. He's in Denver, Colorado. He's the number one income earner in the company.
Yeah, and Michael's also a successful real estate investor. Right. And you know what? He didn't have the foundation you did. Dude, that's the other thing. You know, he came from a background where he didn't have a family, really, to speak of. And he was challenged in a lot of ways. And he wasn't going to college. He wasn't on the, quote, right path. But that's the power of what Renatus provides people, because it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your history is. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter. If you understand principles of business and real estate investing, which we teach through Renatus, then you can create a future, you know?
So, Keo, let me ask you this question. You went to the regional event. You heard Michael Huggins. You heard, about 10 other trainers over those 3 days. When did you decide to pull the trigger? I mean, your husband just passed away. There's a lot of grief. You're coming out of that tremendous loss of a loved person. But you knew that if you didn't do something with the insurance that your husband left you to provide for you, in 10 years it'd be gone.
But that's right.
So did you just decide during the regional, hey, I'm going to get enrolled?
We talked about it on the way home from watching Michael Huggins that night. We made that decision that night. We talked to Bill Predabon on Tuesday and signed up on Tuesday.
Now, how did you know Bill Predabon?
Patrick Bailey knew Bill Predabon. He had gone to some of the meetings with Bill about 2.5 years prior to this.
And how do you know Patrick? Just curious. I know Patrick, great guy.
Yeah, Patrick's a good friend of ours. So we've known him for about 8 years.
Okay.
So just a good family friend, goes to our church.
Yeah. Now, personally, I see, God moves everything around and it just kind of blows your mind how he brings people, to it.
Together,
so, yeah, very interesting from that standpoint. Now, Keo, were you and your husband planning on real estate investing prior to him getting sick and passing away? Was it like in the mind, like we need to do something?
It was just because I had read some of the books like Rich Dad, and the thing that you want to do is you want to have passive income.
Right.
And it was kind of on my mind that we really needed to have passive income to replace his income, just in the event something should happen.
Right.
Well, who knew? I think God put that on my heart. I really do.
Yeah, and outside of real estate, you can own a business. There's a lot of things you do to create passive income. Depends on what kind of business you want to own, and everyone has different passions. But I'll tell you this, if it wasn't for real estate, I mean, really, you think about it, you don't have no inventory, right? You have very few, if any, employees, yet you could create a very realistic, low to mid six-figure income every year while owning an asset base. Outside of real estate, I don't know how you can do that.
Right, yeah, I agree 100%. So, Keo, you started coming to our events in Scottsdale. Would you take a minute and tell our audience what they're going to experience if they attend one of our events at the Scottsdale team?
Well, wow. You guys are just so amazing. It's hard to describe.
Well, bless your heart.
When you get there, you meet very friendly people who are very upbeat and positive. Attitudes are phenomenal. There's a lot of energy in our community, and they make you feel very welcome. And then when you go in and you're in the training's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And so you learn from everybody's experiences. They share their knowledge, and it's I don't know. It's just a phenomenal place to be.
Wow.
I'm speechless on it.
Atmosphere and inspiration are what come to my mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Say that again, Zach.
Atmosphere and inspiration. Those are the words that come to mind when I think of the Scottsdale meetings.
Well, and I appreciate both of you saying that, but Keo and Zach, I got to tell you, you two bring a lot of that to our team.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I remember seeing you just last Thursday, Zach. You just sat down. I think you were running late or something, or you got in there late. And I went over and I shook your hand, and there was this big smile.
That's
you
right.
had from one ear to the other. I thought, wow, I like this guy. I mean, it's pretty hard not to like him, isn't it, Kevin?
It's really hard not to like Zach and Keo. I mean, you guys are great. And sincerely, our entire community is made up of just quality people.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we just know God keeps adding quality people at the right time. He's brought you to our team, and we're excited to have you here.
We're really
Absolutely.
excited to be here.
Yeah.
So I just have to tell you, it's a relief, and it's a comfort, and it gives you just a sense of security.
Wow.
Well, it's almost like a second church. Scott Rowe calls
really
it the
is.
Renatus Church.
Absolutely.
And I don't want any of our Christian friends to be offended, okay? Jesus did not die for Renatus, okay?
No.
He did die for the church, though. He died for us, So please don't go off on your hyper-spiritual tangent and say, oh, Dr. G's a heretic. We've had that happen before, So, Zach, are you excited about being in business with your mother?
I really am. The goal for us when we decided to do business together was to get closer. We have very conflicting personalities. We're so similar that we butt heads a lot of the time.
Uh-huh.
And so...
Are you both just hair dominant?
Yes, absolutely. we really are. So we both like to take charge, take lead, and this has really taught us to communicate better and to just love each other more, really.
Wow.
It's tough to it's tough really, to be in business with somebody that you're so close to, but
Right.
feel so far away from sometimes.
Right.
And this has definitely brought us closer, and I love every minute of it.
And I can only imagine, Zach and Keel, all the emotional up and downs you've been through since last August. But I just want you to know, before we leave the air today, I count it an honor and a privilege to be your friend, and to have you in our life. And it's just a joy that you're live on the radio with us today.
Oh, thank you so much.
And so I just want to say thank you. And we've got so much more information that we're going to share in the next couple of days
Absolutely.
with Keel and Zach.
Absolutely. And Zach, I know what you mean working with someone that you're close to.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
I bet.
No, wait a minute.
No, I just think it's interesting. You're both of you, obviously, when your husband, your dad, they pass away unexpectedly. That's just a life change, and just your world is upside down, no doubt. But as the world gets turned upside down and then things begin to settle, there's so many things that you would not have thought of consciously prior.
Definitely.
So what's going to come out in this? And here's mom and son working together, and I'm sure that wasn't even on your radar a year ago, right? I mean,
Not even a
how
little
different is that? Yeah.
Well, and you rode in the education just 5 months ago, and you're already doing your first big deal. Is that right, Keel?
We actually have 5 deals right now.
Whoa, slow down. 5 deals?
bit. Yes,
5.
sir.
We're going to have to come back and talk about that tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
That's unbelievable. I'm so excited for Keel and Zach. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and our special guests are Keel and Zach Jones from Apache Junction. Just a wonderful mother-son team, and we're so grateful that they're in our lives. Hey, Kevin and I are hosting another Investor Business Forum this week. What is a business forum? Well, it's about an hour and a half event that's going to introduce you to Renatus, the premier real estate investing education service in America. You're going to meet a lot of wonderful men and women, just like Zach and his mother, Keel. You're going to see real estate investing as it really is, not as you hear it on the radio and TV. Come join our team and you're making $90,000 in the next 90 days. No. That's not the way we operate. We're here. This is my 10th year on radio. I'm encouraging you. Give me a call. I would love to meet you. Come and get acquainted with Kevin and I, and give us a chance to get acquainted with you. If you'd like to be my guest, here's our phone number. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit Kevin and I on our website, Wealth Empowers. That's WEALTH, Wealth Empowers, EMPOWERS, wealthempowers.com. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you this, you have an opportunity to embrace what I think is one of the most brilliant, practical, impactful, effective opportunities in your life to get out of that workaday world, to get out of that rat race and learn how to create a financial platform you control. Kevin, do you have anything to add to that? We got less than a minute left.
Yeah, stop thinking about it and reach out and get it done. Don't wait for all the changes to force you into something.
And
be proactive and make that change today.
And Keel and Zach, we're not going to put their arms up behind their back, are we?
No.
We don't have credit card machines in the back of the room.
Definitely not.
We don't sign them up for a 7-day boot camp in Florida.
No.
Right, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me say many times, change when left to chance gives birth to conflict. And if you don't change, things are never going to change. And I'll guarantee you this, the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. So what's the bottom line? Are you ready for it? Either you make the change or the change is going to make you. I encourage you, stop being a circumstantial creator and start living life on purpose. Success is never a destination. It's nothing more than a journey. So my question to you is, are you enjoying the journey financially? You can succeed. All that's given to anyone is given to you. Now listen very carefully. Success has never been final. Success is never over. But failure has never been fatal. No one's ever died from failing. An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You are full of the power of success. Now, why do I say this with such deep, strong conviction? It's real simple. Greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today? Hey, right now is a good time. Keel or Zach, how would you address what I said about getting free from the heartbreaks, the failures, and even the successes of the past, so you can allow yourself to get in the present? You just went through the recent loss of your husband, Keel, Zach, your daddy, and that had to be a traumatic time, but also you had to allow yourself to get into the present. Am I right or right?
Absolutely. What you said hit me in the gut. It oftentimes we don't really think about living in the present. We think too much about the past.
Right.
And
that doesn't mean you forget people.
Of course.
That doesn't mean you lose sight of the past, but you just don't let yourself stay there.
Right. You live now, remembering everything that's happened to you.
Right.
But it's hard to not live in the past.
I can only imagine, especially what you two have been through. Keel, you have anything to add to that?
I think you just have to be really thankful for what you've had in the past, and thankful that God puts you in the position that you are in today so that you can look forward to tomorrow.
Wow.
It's difficult, but if you keep your eyes on God, He can help you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you guys, both of you been through this loss, and you're just, getting yourself kind of trying to get your feet under you, so to speak, in a lot of areas in life. And one of those areas, the two of you decided to team up together and say, hey, we're going to invest in real estate. We're going to go into business together, mother and a son team. That you hadn't even thought about that, 6-7 months ago. I'm sure wasn't even a blip on the radar. Now here you both are, jump in, both feet, head first, all of those sayings here. What was it that you saw with the Renatus investing education, the community? Because you walked into an event in October and you said, hey, this is for us. We think we can do it. Kind of take us into your car on that drive home for our listeners. Here's Zach and Keo just kind of reforming their life, mother-son team. What was that conversation like?
Well, when we were walking back to the car after seeing Michael Huggins, we were both kind of silent. We didn't really know how to formulate what we had just heard into what we wanted to say. Both really in disbelief of what we just heard. It blew our minds. So I think the first words were just, wow, or holy cow, or something like that.
Holy cow's good enough.
Sure, yeah.
The rest of the ride home was just, I think this is the right way to go. It was amazing how it fell into our laps. It's amazing how God works like that. We were just talking about what we were gonna do, and how were we gonna overcome what had just happened to us. We were still dealing with telling people or talking to people.
Sure.
So
the one thing that we both came away with it from, we were both very excited about it. It's very exciting to see a different strategy and to see that there's education out there that you have no idea about,
right,
that can help you improve your life. That's exciting. And when we saw that at the presentation about Velocity Banking, it just opened our eyes to a new strategy, and we were so excited. It was really, we made a decision that night that this is what we're going to do.
It wasn't a real conversation. It was a decision. It was we're going to do this. How do we go about it?
Now you didn't have to hammer out all your entire business plan or all the details or what.
Right.
You just knew that if you could get a hold of this, it would take you in the direction you want to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Velocity Banking. Velocity Banking is one of our 59 classes, I believe. Yeah. And Velocity Banking opened your eyes to what, Keel?
The strategy that they give in Velocity Banking shows you that even if you have debt, how you can take your debt and pay it off quickly so that you can then make credit the proper way and invest in things that will make you money.
So the only way to pay off your debt is go out and get another part-time job?
No. That's the nice thing about it. You can just do your job that you have now. And we've actually taken that and helped some of our family members who are struggling with debt. We've taken that and applied that to their debt situation and strategizing. They've all been able to pay off 3 of their credit cards in just the last month.
I just sat through and walked them through it again. My uncle wanted to make sure he was doing it right. So he came to me and he was like, "Hey, am I doing this right?" And I walked him through it, and he's still mind blown. But he said it best. He said, honey, talking to his wife.
Yeah,
says,
not you.
Yeah, not me. He says, honey, this is how people are supposed to live. We're making all this money, but we aren't getting anywhere.
Right.
But with this, we have vehicles paid off. We have cards paid off. We're out
already.
of debt.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
They have cards paid off already, but they're starting to get their vehicles paid off, and they're starting to really move forward with it.
So what I'm hearing is not only has the Renatus Real Estate Investing Education System impacted your life, Keo and Zach, but the truth of what we teach is filtered down to other family members.
Yes.
And friends.
And friends.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Are you excited about that, Keo?
Oh my gosh, so excited. If you had heard them sit there and go, there's light at the end of our tunnel. We don't have to be saddled with this debt forever. And then we can also go on, once we get this under control and get it managed and paid down, then we can invest. And that to them is crucial.
And you're already involved. You've been in the education, about 5 months, something like that?
3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
And you're already involved in 5 real estate transactions.
Yes.
We're going to come back and talk about that. That's just exciting. You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have live in the studio with us Keo Jones and her son, Zach, a mother and son team that have, joined hands and said, you know what? We're going to live a life that's worth living, and that's one of financial freedom. And that's what the Renatus education system brings. It's not just about real estate deals and making money. It's a lifestyle. It's about creating true, genuine financial freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week right here in the Valley. And I want to offer you an opportunity to be my personal guest. There is no cost to you. I'd love to meet you. And Kevin, how many of our people, we meet people every week?
Yeah, every week we meet our listeners. It's a highlight of our night because we get on the mic and we get this out on the airwaves, and we just pray and hope that it's reaching people. So when we meet our listeners, we enjoy it.
Right. So if you'd like to be my guest, you're going to have to call me. And I'm going to give you my phone number in a sec, but I want you to know when you call, you're going to get our voice message. So for your sake, leave a message for me with your name and your phone number, and I will personally return the call. Here's our phone number. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or go to our website, Wealth Empowers, W-E-A-L-T-H, Wealth Empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Keo and Jones and her son Zach are live in the studio. So, Keo, it seems like you're just a tad excited about what you're learning.
I'm very excited about what I'm learning. I would go home and get on the classes, the education, and it's so exciting that you have to share it with your friends. So I talked to Lee and Sandy, we talked about earlier, friends of ours, and I would share with them this exciting stuff that I just learned today. Like, so for instance, multifamily commercial, doing that class was like amazing. There's so many strategies in there that he teaches you. I would share those.
Right.
And they were so excited about that. They wanted to learn too. So it's just, that's how it works. It's amazing, and you can change people's lives with it. I know we're excited about changing our life.
It's so funny. I'll get home sometimes from hanging out with my fiance, and I'll walk in the door, and she's like, "Oh my gosh,
I love that, hanging out with my fiance."
Oh my gosh, Zach, I just learned the most amazing thing. Like, you got to watch this class next. And so I'm watching my own classes, I'm going through my own things, and she's like, this is the one you got to watch next. This is amazing.
Now, Zach, you were going to college before. You were taking college courses, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is this a different type of learning model?
Absolutely.
With our Renatus education?
Absolutely.
Kind of share with our listeners a little bit. What's that? Do a little compare contrast for us.
So it's all my own time. You know,
It's all 24/7 delivered via the internet.
absolutely. Rather than, you know, having a class schedule you got to go to every day, sitting in a class for
Right.
a couple hours and going home with loads of homework, you know, this is loads of real life situations. So you watch these videos and you learn all about it, and then you apply it to your life rather than you sit in a class for 2 hours and then go home, apply it to your homework, just hoping to get a passing grade.
Right, yeah.
Apply to your homework. That's good. And for our listeners, just to give a little more context to the ocean of information that Keo and Zach have jumped into. So Renatus Real Estate Investing Education is up to 59 or 60 classes.
59 classes,
Yeah.
I believe. We have 29 practicing
Yep.
real estate investors as our instructors.
So the men and women that are teaching these courses are men and women who are getting results with the very disciplines they're teaching. And this education is going to span from things like debt elimination, our velocity banking class, to all the way to multifamily commercial. You mentioned that, Keo, to land development, how to do a proper rehab if you are flipping, but also how to hold when you buy a property, if you're going to hold it and cash flow it. To the extent that we have a tax and legal class that helps you build a business structure around your real estate investing so you can maximize your tax benefits, the education continues to just go on and on. So when we have our guest on Mike say, well, what class impacted me the most? Just for our listeners, you try to understand, they're trying to narrow this down from 59 classes. It's overwhelming, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
The way I see it is there's 3 different categories for me. There's making money, there's saving money, and then there's making your saved money make money for you.
Wow, I love that. Say that once more. There's making money,
There's making money, saving money,
saving money.
and then making your saved money make money for you.
Wow, let those dollar bills have little babies.
That's right.
Exactly.
So, Keo, you said you're in 5 deals already?
Yeah, we're in 5 deals.
Can you give us a brief synopsis, and let's focus on the biggest one?
Okay, so we've got a rental property in Mexico. We bought that right because we learned how to do that in our education. You buy it at the right price, and then it's going to do well for you no matter what. So
Right.
we have that. That's passive income. That's on a monthly basis. And then we're most recently we're in a deal where we picked up our first fix and flip on our own.
That's
And-
where we had the property tour last week.
That's right. Yeah, we had the property tour. It's
That's
in
cool.
Scottsdale. Yeah.
I noticed the front window was knocked out.
Our guys are doing a great job.
I
so
hear
let me
that's
tell
what you said. Yes.
They are. I if we have another property tour, it'll be almost done. So I mean,
wow.
they're doing just great. So we bought that through a wholesaler, and we bought it for $298,000. We've got $85,000 that we're going to be putting into it. It's more of a rehab than a fix and flip because it's more intense and a lot more done. And then we are looking to sell it for about $500,000. So net profits potentially, of course, we know the market could change,
Right.
but it should be somewhere between $60,000 and $85,000.
That's fantastic.
And if that potential profit dropped to 40,000, that wouldn't break your heart.
Oh
No.
man, it would be devastating.
But you'd survive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. And through your education, you learned when you get those profits how to maximize those so you minimize your tax liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, we established an LLC, and the property's going to go through the LLC, and that does 2 things for us. That protects our asset.
Right.
So should anybody get injured on the job, then they're not going to sue us personally.
Right.
They can't take our personal assets. And also, like you said, Kevin, on the tax end of it, it gets taxed through the corporation and not personal liability, personal taxes, which is
Personal
huge.
income, yeah. No, it is. And when you say that, yeah, I mean, people who earn W-2 income, which I did for a lot of years, I was there, they know one tax code, and it's the government gets my money before I do. right? And to think in terms of my business generates revenue, and then I bring that revenue into my business and I get all my tax deductions over $400, that minimizes how much I got to pay to Uncle Sam.
Keo, I want to ask you a question. Zach, you think about it because I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm just sitting here that you guys are excited.
Very excited.
Now, I'm going to ask you this question, Keo. If you had a chance to say to your husband, Mark, that just passed away and went to be with the Lord, what would you say about what you're doing with the Renatus now? You'd say, Mark, guess what?
Mark, guess what? You gave us the most amazing legacy that we were able to do this, and you made sure that we were taken care of because we're going to be able to take care of ourselves, and not only take care of ourselves, but build wealth for ourselves in the future.
Wow. Zach?
I'd say thanks, Dad, for giving me a good head on my shoulders, for teaching me how to be a man, and teaching me how to apply that to my business life.
Wow, that's awesome. I tell you what, they're just a wonderful couple, Zach and Keo. What a joy to have you in our lives, and to have you live in the studio with us to share with our audience.
Yeah, this is the thing is this is real life, and we talk about it on the radio all the time, and it can get a little. I think anyway, sometimes when you get into this idea of creating wealth and business ownership, real estate investing, it can get a little twisted. People, I'm going to, earn millions of dollars and fire my boss and buy an island and all that kind of stuff.
We're not talking about that.
But because the reality of it is what we're talking about today is possible for everyone listening, and Keo and Zach, you're a great example of, we just got to work, got our education and made a difference.
Right. Kevin, have you ever met a Christian that was excited about being broke?
Well, I've met a couple that felt a little holy because they were broke.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing what the Lord's allowed me to do.
Yeah, they're
what's that old country and western song? Don't fence me in. And people get fenced in with all their fears and their feelings of insecurity. Mm-hmm. And I've got to say this, Keo and Zach, it's just a joy that God has positioned you where you are today. And I'm sure if Mark were here, if your daddy was here, he'd put his arms around you, Zach, and say, son, keep going for it. I mean, your future's ahead of you. Thank the Lord for his blessing. You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have Keo and Zach Jones from Apache Junction, Arizona, live in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard what Keo and Zach have been saying about Renatus. I'm just encouraging you, if you're really considering making a change in your life, why don't you come to our business forum? I'm extending you an invitation to be my personal guest. I'm going to give you my phone number, and you're going to have to call me to make it happen. But I want you to know when you call, you're going to get our voice message. So for your sake, not for my sake, but for your sake, leave a message with your name and phone number so I can get back to you. Are you ready to write it down? Here it is. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or, hey, visit us at our website, Wealth Empowers. Wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, Empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Kevin, there's so much that I would like to say to each and every one of those who are listening to us today. We don't know where they are in life. But, Keo, would you take a minute? We got about 2 minutes left. And tell our audience, what are they going to experience if they accept my invitation to be my guest at our business forum this week?
If they accept your invitation, they're going to find an opportunity to change their lives from where it is now to where they want it to be tomorrow. And they're going to find people that are there who are supportive, who are caring, who will help them reach their goals. They will find an education that will help them so they can do it with knowledge and without fear of making the big mistakes that other people have made in the past, because they have a wonderful community around them to help them through it.
You've had no fear since you've been in Renatus, have you?
No fear.
Okay. Is that just her personality, or is it because of the system, Zach?
I think it's a little bit of both. But seeing people who have been right where we are, seeing people who we can relate to on a more personal level. Seeing people that are everyday Joes just like us do exactly what we're doing now inspires us and shows us that we can do it too.
Yeah, well, that's key because that's what I love about not only our local team but our national presence is that, you know what, it's regular people. And,
Right.
we don't put on airs. We don't act to be someone we're not. This isn't paid professional speakers flying into town trying to sell you on a product. This is real people right now here in the Valley and changing their life because their education, what they know, and they think differently, right? And it just opens up the world to them.
Keo, Zach, I'm just asking this before we leave the air. If someone calls me and wants to talk to you, do I have your permission to give them your cell phone number?
Yes, you do.
How about you, Zach?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. You guys are wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me say many times, if you don't know where you're going, any road to take you there. And just in the last 6 months, there was a time when, Keo and Zach didn't know where they were going, but God did. I've had many people say, well, Dr. G, how did you know what the future held? Well, nobody knows what the future holds, but I do know who holds the future. And that's the good thing about becoming part of our local Renatus team of real estate investors. Live in the studio with us today, we have a fantastic team, a mother and son team, Keo Jones and her son, Zach. Zach turns 21 this coming month. I'm telling you, that's fantastic. And Keo, well, let's just say she's quite a bit younger than I am, okay? It's a joy to have both of you back in the studio.
Wonderful to be back. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, yeah, good to have you,
Thank
Keo.
you, guys. Yes, appreciate being here.
Dr. G says that, Keo, you're quite a bit younger than him, but see, everyone's quite a bit younger than him. So.
Okay. All right. So there, thank you, son. So, Zach, here you are, almost 21 years old. I've got to say this live in the studio. You are the youngest person that we've had live in the studio or even as a guest on this radio program, isn't he?
I think so.
I think so. Congratulations. You broke a record.
What an honor.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Keo, you've shared so much. You've been with our local Renatus team in North Scottsdale for almost 3 months, going on 4 months. You came out of a heartbreaking experience, losing your husband unexpectedly, Zach, your daddy. But your husband, Mark, left you well taken care of as far as insurance is concerned. But you also did the numbers and realized that if you don't do something with that insurance, in 10 years, your money's run out. So then you go get another JOB, right?
That's right.
You've been a stay-at-home mom since 2000. You've got 5 children. Well, not children. Some of them are adults now.
Right.
I think all but 2 of them, aren't they? Or one of them?
One.
Yeah. That's
All but one.
But I'm sure that one acts like an adult or wants to be an adult.
He might.
Yeah. So you got involved in the Renatus real estate investing education system. And people say, well, what's Renatus? Well, it's a Latin term for rebirth. And even though you'd been born again in the blood of Christ, you've literally been rebirthed financially with the Renatus system. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that.
That's awesome. And so you came to our investor business forum. You'd already attended what we call the regional event, where we have people from all over the state come. And you and Zach became part of the Renatus education system. But beyond just the educational program that we have, the foundation is really the community. Would you agree with that?
It is a wonderful community, yes. And without the community in investing, you just wouldn't have the security that you have. You wouldn't have people that are there to support you and help sustain your positive attitude. It's amazing.
Would you agree with that, Zach?
Absolutely. You hear the phrase "iron sharpens iron,"
Right.
and that's what I think of. I could be having a bad day and come to one of the investor forums, and immediately I'm cheered right up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say, well, it's you're stepping into this world. I talked about self-doubt in the beginning. There's all kinds of self-doubt we struggle with in different areas, I remember the first day I walked out of the hospital with my son in my hands. And it kind of like hit me in the chest. There's like, okay, he's your, like, uh-oh. A little self-doubt as a dad, a new dad. So there's self-doubt in different areas in life. And when it comes to real estate investing in business and finance, we're all a little nervous, a little trepidation here. We haven't created the wealth we've wanted. There's things about money we don't understand, and we all just kind of go on in life acting like we do. We don't discuss those things. And so stepping into having a community of people around you that say, hey, I've walked that road. I've had the same concerns. I've got the same questions. And not only locally, but Renatus has a national presence. In across 36 different states, there's 20-some cities that have live events, and that we host about 15 events a month here locally. But there's live events and investors that we connect with and can call and talk with. So we're just not, going through the wind all by ourselves. And that really does anchor us to success.
Keo, you shared yesterday about the class that we have on velocity banking, how it's impacted your life. And Zach, you're 21 years old. Would you agree that the class on velocity banking has given you a whole new, fresh understanding of how you can create your genuine financial freedom?
Yes, 100%. It takes the fear of getting into debt away. It takes the
because you're not going to become a prisoner today.
Right. I was taught as a kid, stay away from debt, stay away from credit cards, stay away from all this. This credit is bad. Debt is terrible. And then learning how to use that debt to get me out of debt and then keep myself free of debt.
But also using it to create assets,
right,
and to create wealth. If you're going to use debt, you need to use it the right way. If you're going to use credit, use it to make yourself money.
Right. Well, that's just like, Alberto Vargas, one of our team members. He and I just bought 4 lots out in East Mesa. And on the first lot, we're putting a manufactured home. And in just the last 30 days, we raised $248,000 from private investors to make our first project happen. That's what we called good debt. And, Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I have had the opportunity to interview him on 3 separate occasions. And he explains that people need to wake up to the fact that there is such a thing as good debt.
Right.
And good debt is a debt that you control. It does not control you. You want to add to that thought?
I don't know that there really is a whole lot to add to that.
Okay.
So
I said that well.
You did. You said it really well.
You did that well. Yeah.
It's a tool more than anything.
Debt is a tool. Yeah.
If
I like
you use
the
it
way you
right.
said
And most people in America are stuck in their debt problem because of what Dave Ramsey, speaking of debt, we got to bring him up. What Dave Ramsey talks about is shiny object syndrome. Okay. So now we're buying things because it makes us feel good and, we like it and we got cars and clothes and we traveled and we've thrown it all on the credit card and we didn't have money to pay for that stuff. That's stupid debt and that's bad debt and we want to stay out of that. So the velocity banking strategy helps us eliminate that so we can be stronger as real estate investors, have a stronger financial platform.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence show, and live in the studio is Keo Jones and her son, Zach Jones, a mother and son team who have just joined our team in North Scottsdale with the Renatus real estate investing community that we've built over the last 10 years. And we're having another investor business forum. Same thing we've been doing now for 10 years, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell our audience about it?
So this week we're having our investor business forum, and this is an invitation Dr. G and I extend to you directly, personal from us. We'd love for you to be our guest. And in just a minute, I'm going to give you a phone number to call, and you're going to leave your voicemail, leave your name and phone number so we can get back to you directly. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to meet Dr. G and I at our business forum, probably meet Keo and Zach as well.
Right.
So because they're at all the events also. And it's the opportunity for you to get a real-time picture of what we're trying to get across on this show every day, to meet people just like yourself from all walks of life that have changed their financial situation by making sure they get the right education and get plugged into the right community. So the number I'm going to give you to call, when you call it, leave your name and phone number for Dr. G or I to get back to you directly.
And I will personally return the call, Kevin. I usually do.
Yep, Dr. G returns everything personally. So you're going to call 602-730-5655. 5645. That number again is 602-730-5645. Of course, you can also go to our website, wealthempowers.com. That's 2 words, wealth, WEALTH, EMPOWERS, all together, wealthempowers.com. Drop us a line. You can email us through there, and we'll get back to you as well.
I love the name of our website, Wealth Empowers, because wealth does empower. Now, we're not talking about the Donald Trump kind of wealth.
Oh, no. And at our business forum, what our visitors understand, what our guests learn are the 5 pillars of wealth. There are really 5 actual pillars you have to build into your life to create wealth, and it's more than just money. We talk about the 5 currencies that impact our lives.
And what
every
are
day.
those 5 currencies?
Well, I don't want to say it. They got to come to our business forum.
Okay.
They got to meet us. They got to meet Zach and Keo, and they got to meet our team and understand what those 5 currencies are and how to build those up to build their wealth foundation.
Have you learned those 5 currencies, Zach?
I know them by heart.
Share one of them.
Time.
Time. That's a currency.
I'm glad you went with time. Actually, that's a really good one. That's the most important one, isn't it?
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. Because don't we have it backwards in our head? We think we have plenty of time. We just don't have enough money.
Right.
And it's a reverse thinking. We don't have enough time, do we?
We don't.
Talk about that, Keo. Talk about the problem with our thinking around time.
Well, whenever you think you have enough time, then events happen in your life and you find out that you don't, and you wish you'd been able to spend more time with your family doing the things that were more important, and then you have regrets over that. So with this system, Zach and I are actually able to spend more time together, and it's quality time, and it's time in business as well as time in fun.
Yeah, I heard a story about a guy who was dying, and he was in his deathbed, and he said, "Boy, I wish I would have spent more time at the office." and I'm lying, right?
Yeah.
There's never been a person on their deathbed that said, "I wish I spent more time at work."
Yeah.
I wish I had made more money.
And we all do that. We just fall into that. We think
Right.
we have enough time. I think it was attributed to Joyce Meyer, the quote, "If you run out of time, hire someone to get more." Because, there's only so much you could do personally, right? You do hit a wall with time. And financially, you can buy time from leveraging other people's time.
I was just thinking about that too. That's one of the things that we learned with this education is that you have a leveraged business, and you leverage not just money, but you also
Right.
leverage time. And time's one of the biggest things, because if you want to do another deal, if you're busy on one, you're not leveraged, you don't have that time available. So you have to leverage that time by using other people, and then you can do more deals at the same time.
Well, and a perfect example is the deal you're in right now in Scottsdale. We talked about it earlier this week. So you have a house right now that you're rehabbing.
Right.
Okay, so Zach, are you down there swinging a hammer?
No.
Yeah, thank God, huh?
That would be terrible.
Keo, you're not laying tile and painting or anything?
No, in fact, I think I've spent maybe a total of 10 hours all together. We did go shopping for tile the other day, and that was
Sure.
a lot of fun. So Zach and I went and did
Yeah.
that
That's the
together.
fun part, right?
Finding all the cool little stuff for the house. You're like, oh, this is really gonna pop right here.
Yeah. And the reason I bring it up is because you're leveraging other people's time, because you're able to pay them to do the work, so your time could be spent together, mother and son, and then spend your time finding other deals. So
That's exactly what you're doing, isn't it, Keo?
That's exactly what we're doing.
You're following the Renata system.
Yes.
There's so many people who say, "Oh, I know how to fix toilets," or "I know how to fix plumbing," or "I know how to lay tile," and they miss the whole idea.
Well, I have to tell you, I do know how to do all of those.
Okay.
But
and I'm not surprised. I'm sure she can fix it.
But when you learn from Renatus that you should be leveraging that time instead of laying that tile,
Right.
it makes far more sense.
Right.
Yeah, we actually did a fix and flip like 10 years ago. We flipped a house way before we ever heard of Renatus, and we spent all our time there. She was there every day for 8 to 10 hours a day.
Wow.
And that's like all she did for almost a month. We had weekends where the whole family was there, which was
Sure.
kind of cool. We spent time together, but we could have been doing so much more.
Right. Well,
And
you
we've-
didn't know then.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
we've learned that since
Yeah.
then.
course, you were 11 years old then.
Yeah, I was.
There's a lot of things 11-year-olds don't know.
You're right.
Different perspective at 21, isn't it?
Oh, much different.
Keel, you learned a lot, didn't you?
I did.
You learned a lot what not to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's now, let's give our audience an understanding of the reality of what you're accomplishing. You were able to fund this house with hard money, private money. You were able to buy it, I think, from a wholesaler. Is that what you said?
Yes, from a wholesaler.
Okay. And in a, we're going to say a 3 to 4 month window of time, about how many hours of your time will you have in it, going out and selecting different materials for the house and so on?
Maybe 20 hours altogether, maybe.
Okay, let's be generous and say 30 hours.
Okay.
Okay, traveling time and so on. What's your potential profit on that?
It's between $60,000 and $85,000.
Let's take $60,000.
Okay.
30 hours. I think that comes to something like $500 an hour. Is that about right? Or no? Is that?
No, I think
that's $2,000.
$2,000 an hour.
$2,000 an hour.
Potential.
Potential.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
potential.
I mean-
potential.
That blows the average person's mind. They say, "No way, that can't happen," and you say,
Yes, it can. But you have to know how to do it.
You have
to know how to do it.
Yeah. You got to do it right. You got to be able to learn how to evaluate the properties the right way. Make sure you got your crews in place. I mean, it takes something to it. But when you learn it, man, look out, because that's powerful.
Right. And not only that, the community that we have is so powerful because this was our first individual fix and flip that we're doing. And so we were able to call on our mentor, Bill, and he came out and he evaluated the property after we bought it. I just wanted to make sure that we were covering all of the bases, doing everything that we needed to.
and there's nobody than Bill to give that input.
Right.
I mean, better.
And so he came out and he looked it over. He listened to everything that we did. He made some suggestions and he said, I think this is a good deal. And that is a good sense of security right there in what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know that you've got advice from an expert who's done it many times and you're not going to make any serious mistakes.
Yeah.
Another wonderful thing is when you're doing something as big as a fix and flip by yourself.
Right.
It's scary. It's a lot of money and it's terrifying. But when you're trying to look for good quality people and you have this community around you that use people every day, they leverage all these people, you know who you can trust and who you can't. And
You know who the players are.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can call on any of them and they'll give you the people they need to get the job done.
So what I'm hearing you saying is you're on this big, beautiful dance floor of Renatus, but you're not dancing by yourself.
That's right.
I like that.
That's what he heard you say. That's kind of, I think, what he said in his own mind. But I love his analogies. He comes up with stuff. I'm like, what? The dance floor of Renatus. That's interesting. But you paint such a beautiful picture, Dad.
Well, you know, when your mother and I spoke at a national our conference up in Salt Lake City a couple of years ago, for 30 minutes, I spoke on dancing with Renatus. I'm dancing with Renatus because I have finances I didn't used to have. I'm dancing with Renatus because I have friends I didn't used to have. I'm dancing with Renatus because we have a future that we didn't have. Would you like to dance on the dance floor of Renatus with me, Keel?
I would love to dance on the dance floor.
Sounds like
with
fun,
you.
doesn't it?
It does.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have this awesome mother-son team live in the studio, Keel and Zach Jones. And we're just excited about Renatus. And we're holding another investor business forum this week right here in the Valley. Kevin and I host this every week. And we're reaching out to you to give you an invitation to be our personal guest at no cost to you. You cannot bring your checkbook or your credit cards with you. You're not going to buy anything. You're not ready to become part of our team yet. We need to get acquainted. If you'd like to be my guest, I'm going to give you my phone number. But when you call, you're going to get our voice message. So for your sake, leave a message for me with your name and phone number, and I will call you back. Here's my phone number. Get ready to write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or, hey, visit us at our website, Wealth Empowers. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Keo and Zach, we only have about 2.5 minutes left. I'm going to start out with you, Zach. You're 21 years old. You're in business with your mother. You've quit going to college, and you've become part of the educational process with Renatus. Would you tell our audience what they're going to experience when they come to our Investor Business Forum and why they should come?
What you should experience is, or what you will experience rather than should, is you're going to experience an atmosphere unlike any other. You're going to experience smiling faces and just people who love you. They want you to be there. They want to be around you, and there's no better place for me besides maybe my church
Right.
that I'd rather be during the week.
Yeah, Renatus never takes the place of church.
That's
But
right.
I'll tell you what, every one of our key members that are Christians and go to church, they look at Renatus as their second church. It's their business church.
Definitely.
It's the other part of their life. Do you think that's overextending the idea too much?
I don't think so. I think it sums it up pretty much perfectly.
You're excited about going to church, but you're excited about Renatus.
Absolutely.
Isn't that cool, Keel?
That is. It's nice to be excited about doing your work.
Right.
You know, and God
That's
blesses you with that. And He's given us this beautiful opportunity to do real estate and to be our own boss. And it's just amazing.
Well, you said your work is a gift, no
It is.
doubt. And to be excited about your work, so you're not drudgery every day. Oh, I got to go to work. You say, I'm excited to go to my Renatus events. Yeah.
And you truly are excited, aren't you, Keel?
I am very excited.
Well, it's a joy, Zach and Keel. It's just a joy to have you as part of our local team. But beyond just being part of our team, being part of our lives, because you've already brought so much energy and positive influence to those that you've become friends with in our local team. And I know that impact is going to continue to meet itself out with the rest of the team. Thank you for being our guest this week.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you
for
so
having
much for
us.
having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keo and Zach Jones from Apache, Arizona has been our guest.
Apache Junction.
I'm sorry, Apache Junction, Arizona. Thank you. And hey, if you're ready to make a change, come and meet these wonderful people. You've heard me say many times, change when left to chance gives birth to more conflict. And if you don't change, things will never change. And I'll guarantee you this, the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. So what's the bottom line? Either you make the change or the change will make you. Success has never been a destination. It's nothing more than a journey. All that's given to anyone is given to you. Now listen carefully. Success has never been final, but failure has never been fatal. You are full of the power of success. Why do I say this? Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G.
It's been said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. No matter your circumstances, there is a solution to your situation. Dr. G and Kevin invite you to explore the possibilities of creating a new financial platform that you control and no longer allow yourself to be controlled by the circumstances of your life. Visit them at wealthempowers.com. That's WealthEmpowers.com. Come and meet Dr. G and Kevin at the Investor Business Forum. Oh, one last thought. Isn't it time for you to stop making a living and start making a life? Call Dr. G and Kevin at 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645.